A slew of measures, but to really help you demystify and decode that, we have two experts on the show today, Mohandas Pai as well as Rajiv Khaitan, who've been working with the RBI very closely in the last few months to really come up with these proposals. We'll take it first to Mohandas Pai. Sir, let's keep it simple here. Just tell us the three things that really stood out for you among the various measures and also why.
I think the first will be the deal structuring, that is making sure that a convertible paper or a convertible note can be issued by startup in dollars, because the terms of conversion will be known based upon the second round, and that created difficulty because the RBI said it is like debt, because the conversion is not defined. Now I think the clarifications have come, and we have read the fine print, but it's very interesting. The second is for M&A, where there is deferred payment, there is escrow accounts and all that. Governor Rajan has explained about that. I think it's very important because M&A becomes easier, and M&A had become a greater block. And the third is about filing documents and a special dispensation for startups. So filing these documents and making sure things are easier, doing away with a lot of stuff, I think is great. And finally, the fact is said that it is going all out to support the Prime Minister's initiative for startups. I think they're fantastic statements to get. There's an alignment in the government, the Finance Ministry, the Commerce Ministry, the External Affairs Ministry, the Prime Minister's office, now Governor Rajan and SEBI, they all come together, and all of them are saying they're going to support along with the Prime Minister. I've never seen it happen like this in the last 20 years. Even in the IT industry, we never had such a clear alignment in response to the Prime Minister's call. Of course, no Prime Minister made a call like Prime Minister Modi has done. So I think this is a fantastic day for all of us.
Mr. Khaitan, leaving all the legalese aside, if I'm a startup or about to start one, what do these norms mean for me today?
So the startup policy that has been announced today is likely to expedite the fund flow and ease the fund that will flow into India from both foreign sources as well as Indian HNIs.
Mr. Mohandas Pai, this is Krishna from 18 Hours Mumbai Studios. I want to ask you, what will it take from here on to implementation, considering this involves different arms of the government?
See, DIPP is on board. Amitabh Kant is fully on board. And I think now government, after the amendment in FERA, does the policy for foreign exchange. And the regulations are done by the RBI. The regulations now are going to be issued today. The press release is there, and they said the regulations are going to be issued today, subsequent to this meeting, and that's fantastic. And I'm sure that if any policy decisions are there now, the regulations have been issued, the government will issue them. So I think our needs have been substantially met. Of course, we'll go back with further things that we need with Governor Rajan, and I'm sure he's very sympathetic. We had 3-4 meetings with him, and he's always been sympathetic because he understands the innovation system in the United States. He understands the need for such innovation. He has met with the startups. I think he's sufficiently impressed about the level of innovation all across the board, including fintech. So I think it's very good.
All right, Mr. Pai, I'll take your word for that. I'm going to head over to Mr. Khaitan then. Mr. Khaitan, if I'm a startup looking for more sources of funding, the all-important funding, has my life been made easier in that sense with all these new proposals?
Yes, so basically this is only a policy announcement of what the Reserve Bank will do, and basically they are trying to remove some of the hurdles that were there in the policy. For example, simplified filing. Earlier, for a simple receipt of foreign direct investment, there were three levels of filings. One, when the remittance came in, at that time we had to file one form. Then when the shares were actually issued, at that time again it was a form FC, GPR or TRS was filed depending on whether you bought the shares or the new shares were issued. And again there was an FC GPR filing on an annual basis or a 6-monthly basis at times. So the process was cumbersome because you had to wait for a filing number or UIN number to be issued by Reserve Bank. And that was, creating some hurdles in the system at times. So now what they have done is they have created an online system for filings which will really simplify the process. all three stages of these filings will become online and hopefully much better for a startup to use.
Mr. Pai, one space that's really hot in the startup world today is fintech and the whole payments area. Are there specific things that the RBI can further do to really, make it easy to do business as far as these areas are concerned?
Well, Aadhaar is 1 billion people. That's fantastic. DBT is a reality. It's worked very well for LPG. It's working now for kerosene. It'll work for food. That's fantastic. It's going to work for scholarship. It's already working for scholarship. So all government payments will be by DBT. That's fantastic. The India Post is going to be a part of it, and they got a payment bank license. And I think they have 157,000 branches. So we'll have a network. Some 8-10 payment banks are coming up, and I think that's fantastic. The big banks are beefing up their payment structures. That's very good. Mobile payments have been eased, can be eased much more further. Peer-to-peer lending is come into being in India. There are many innovative companies. There are companies which switch mortgages to, and I think that's fantastic. And we are seeing a lot of grassroots innovation at the payments level. So I think the ecosystem is getting in place. Now we must wait for all of them to come up to such a size that they really impact the financial system.
Mr. Khaitan, as someone who's met the RBI governor frequently over the last few months, are there still measures left for the RBI to do any items that were not crossed on your wish list?
So actually we had asked for some 9 or 10 things from the RBI, and what we have heard today in the announcement is response to at least 6 or 7 of them. So most of what we had asked for has been announced as the policy. Now we will see how this policy turns around into a notification. A few things that have not been done, we understand, are work in progress, and they may look at that as a second stage. So most of these things that we had asked for was really for ease of business, which has really been announced. So some of the things that we had asked for were really needing statutory changes or things like that, which has not yet been announced. So what could have been changed by policy? I think they have covered that all.
Mr. Pai, before we let you go, there's still a lack of clarity on the taxation front because the rules are different across states, and also the ambiguity around the marketplace, isn't it?
Well, I think the DIPP should call a meeting of the state governments and ask them about the marketplace and ask them to come on board. I think it's very essential. And I think it'll all happen when GST come into being. I think GST is essentially the key. And the Karnataka Finance Secretary has said very clearly he'll support it. He's come out with some, I think he said he'll come out with some new norms. That'll be very interesting. And the fact that the e-commerce companies have become so much a part of the landscape, they're transforming the way people buy and sell on the internet, and many things have happened. I think we are coming into the mature phase. So it gives me great hope that this budget and after the budget we will see greater clarity. Tax terrorism is coming down. There are still some remnants of tax terrorism in the system, and tax terrorism is coming down. Government has tried to reduce tax litigation. The finance minister said he wants to reduce it further, and there's going to be simplification of process in the new budget from all indications. These are all great moves. So 29th February will be a D-Day for India.
All right, let's wrap this discussion up with one last closing comment from Mr. Khaitan. Mr. Khaitan, are you hopeful of a smooth implementation, between the various arms of the government involved?
So yes, you see, there are 3 or 4 arms of the government which are wanting to, ease the business for startups. So each arm of the government has to play its role. RBI has played its card now. MCA had done partly yesterday when the report of the committee was released to the public. Startup India policy was announced on 16th. So all are in the same direction of ease of business. Now we have to see how these policy announcements convert into actual notifications and ease of business. So I think it's steps in the right direction by each regulator, and hopefully we will see these notifications also very soon.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.